Alright, so this week's video was supposed to be a Phineas and Ferb one, but I'm delaying that video a week to talk about the controversial season finale of Doctor Who. There will be chapters on the video if you viewers want to skip around easier, but here's how the structure of the video will go. First, I need to address something from my last Doctor Who video, so you can watch that one if you want, but I will be recapping a part of that as well. Then we will talk about the recent season finale. After that, I will share my thoughts about the ending of the finale, and we'll throw in some small theories at the end there. So, spoilers. So, first up, like I said, I need to address something from my last Doctor Who video. In this video, I go on a rant about the Timeless Child storyline and how I thought that making the Doctor some special being capable of unlimited regenerations undermines not only the core values of the show, since the Doctor is now born special, instead of anyone looking to make a difference, but I felt like special moments like the Time Lords giving Matt Smith's Doctor a new regeneration cycle now wasn't worth it, since the Doctor would have regenerated anyway. This is where all y'all came through though, and commented quite a bit to point out something that I missed, and looking back, I'm not sure why I didn't connect the dots until after your comments came through. Basically, as many of you pointed out, Division used the Chameleon Arch to wipe the Doctor's memory and make the Doctor into a Gallifreyan. The Chameleon Arch was used back in Tennant's first run, where it's revealed that the Arch completely rewrites your DNA to appear as whatever species you want, and you're able to revert the changes whenever. The concept comes up again with the revival of the Master in Utopia, and the Arch is used again literally earlier in the Timeless Child season. So I'm not sure why it never clicked in my mind that Division made the Doctor appear Gallifreyan as well, and thus limits the Doctor to the 13 regeneration cycle. Therefore, the past episodes and lore still work and hold the weight they were originally meant to. So thank you to everyone who pointed that out. Hindsight is 20/20, I guess. That being said, let's jump to my thoughts on the most recent season finale. First, bringing back the Rani was bold, but I was initially for it. The renegade time lady from the classic era who went up against the 6th and 7th Doctors. Awesome. My problem, and you've probably heard this a lot, is that Mrs. Flood was shafted for both parts despite being hyped up for 2 whole seasons. Like, okay, but at least she escaped, I guess, so she'll come back, probably. Having the second Rani there only for exposition, stupid overly complicated plans, and then to just die was a waste though. Like, she had possession of a baby with the power to grant wishes. What was the point of the whole wish world and relying on doubt when she could have just wished for Omega to be free? Or even better, she could have just bypassed Omega completely and wished for Gallifrey to return. Right? Like, did I miss the part where she explained that she couldn't just do that? Please let me know in the comments, but I don't remember any such moment explained. Her whole plan just seemed needlessly complicated, and her stalking the Doctor throughout the season felt more Master-like if anything. So I was expecting the Master to be freed from the Toymaker's tooth and become the 3rd member of their group. Also, I've seen other vids, I believe it was from the Confused Adipose, pointing out that since the Rani bi-generated, there's going to be some issues. Mainly, it was established that Tennant's 14th Doctor cannot regenerate, so he can have his happy ending. So if that's the case, then Mrs. Flood can't regenerate either, and thus the Rani is now a narrative dead end. There's nowhere left to go, unless a past incarnation shows up, or some magic thing happens to bring back the dead Rani like we saw with the Master. But if Mrs. Flood does regenerate again, then logically speaking, Tennant will also, at some point in the future, regenerate, and he will not have his happy ending after all. Moving on. Omega, however you say it, insert correct pronunciation here, was abysmally wasted. I was so excited for his return. I was hoping for the original costume design, like the folks over at Who Culture were as well. Instead, we got another big CGI monster. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, I think they did Sutekh very well last season. But 2 seasons back to back? Not only was it repetitive, but Omega was beaten in about 5 minutes, if that, because the plot about the baby, Poppy, was so much more important that it had to take up half of the 70 or so minute long runtime. Russell, what were you thinking? Where was the narrative structure? Why hype up the return of a classic big bad when what we got literally could have been anyone and it wouldn't have made a difference? Omega's return was a massive disappointment. So, now the baby plotline. While I think it took up way too much runtime for the finale, I didn't hate it. I was intrigued by the direction, and I did feel sad for the Doctor when Poppy disappeared. I think the episode should have left it there, though. Or at the very least, rewriting Belinda's character by tweaking reality probably shouldn't have happened. All season, she was trying to get back home to her mom. Why change the dialogue then? Like, I get why, to convey that reality was changing ever so slightly, but why not have Belinda need to get home to her baby all season, only for the Poppy reveal at the end? That seems better to me, like other Who-tubers have said the same. I think it was Harbo Holmes who echoed that statement. I could be mistaken though. I've watched a lot of Who-tubers today, interested in their takes. Go check out all of the Who-tubers that I mentioned in this video as well. I'll link them in the description below. The choice to assassinate Belinda's character was an odd choice overall as well. Like, the season started with Belinda as a nurse, living in a flat. She didn't express any thoughts about becoming a mother, if I remember correctly. And the season ends with the Doctor tweaking reality to make Belinda a single mother. And it's treated as a good thing? And now don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being a single parent. But first, that was not the Doctor's decision to make. And second, Poppy's entire existence was a direct result of the wish. The Doctor and Belinda completely forgot about Poppy once the wish was undone and she faded away. Everyone forgot about Poppy's existence except for Ruby for some reason. Everything was back to normal. There was no need to tweak reality here. But that was probably a rewrite shoehorned in as well, though. Oh, and what was the point in bringing attention to the connection between Belinda and last season's one-off character, Mundy Flynn? They're both played by the same actress, Verita Sethu, but in the Season 2 opener, The Robot Revolution, the Doctor straight up tells Belinda, and us by proxy, that the two characters are exactly the same, basically copy and pasted hundreds of years apart. This leads absolutely nowhere. This concept was at least explained quickly in the past by Russell T. Davies as spatial genetic multiplicity, which basically means that sometimes two different people from two different time periods look the same. It's an in-universe way to write off an actor playing multiple roles in the show. So Russell having the Doctor directly call this out and show interest in it was a clear setup for this to come back sometime in the season. Literally was not mentioned again after this moment. Next, let's talk about Susan. Susan has been popping up over the last couple episodes asking the Doctor to find her. For those who don't know, Susan is the Doctor's granddaughter, the first companion of the show from 1963. And the actress, Carol Ann Ford, is still alive and obviously down to return to the show. So why wasn't she in the finale? Instead of the Poppy plot, why not have Susan show up on the TV in Wish World and end the reality war with the Doctor finding her? We pay off the cameos that she made in prior episodes, bring closure to the characters and our investment, and maybe end the season with the Doctor and Susan traveling together again. Unfortunately, her cameos were also wasted and probably a casualty of the rewrites as well. I understand the rewrites needed to happen, since Jodie is in high demand, and we don't know if or when Doctor Who will return, so the regeneration needed to be thrown in last minute and the companion stories needed to come to an end. It just sucks that so much had to be sacrificed. If I was writing the show, I would have at least 2 alternate endings for the season already planned long in advance, and the show getting renewed or not would determine which ending would be used. But again, I would plan it long in advance, so the show wouldn't have to suffer the last-minute reshoots. That's just me, though. Okay, I initially enjoyed the episode, and I'm definitely a more optimistic viewer for whatever I watch. But even I had to vent to a close friend after this finale. I just feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities and odd choices made. I enjoyed Jodie's cameo, though. It was nice seeing her Doctor again. Her era may not have been well liked, but I think she did the best with what she was given and was a victim of bad script writing. Plus, COVID certainly didn't help all that. Now, on to the elephant in the room, or should I say, the big bad wolf in the Tardis. Because, as you all probably know by now, the Doctor regenerated into Billie Piper. First thoughts: shock, surprise, and then a sense of dread, as I realized Doctor Who is relying too much on older, recognizable characters from the past. Just in these last 2 seasons, we got the returns of David Tennant, Donna, her family, the Toymaker, the Unit Crew, Mel, Sutek, Midnight, the Planet, Midnight, the Entity, Susan, the Rani, Omega, Jodie's Doctor, and now Rose. For a new era marketed as a jumping-on point for new viewers, it has certainly been filled with a lot of past characters. Now, I enjoy the odd cameo as much as the next guy, but it feels as if the show is relying on the past, on the good old days, instead of moving forward. The show needs to move forward. Let the legacy characters go, if you're not going to give their returns the justice they deserve. Also, Billie Piper may not be the Doctor. She wasn't credited as the Doctor in the credits, something every new Doctor has been credited as. Apparently there also hasn't been any official source calling her the Doctor as of scripting this. Let me know if I'm mistaken though. Here's some theories I've heard though. 1. The Doctor awakened the heart of the Tardis when tweaking reality. The last time someone looked into the heart of the Tardis, it was Rose in The Parting of the Ways, when she ascended to become Bad Wolf. Thus, when it awakened, it gave the Doctor the last face it saw. 2. This is actually Rose, and some timey-wimey thing happened and switched the two. We know Russell likes Marvel. It's obvious given Unit Tower looking very similar to Avengers Tower and how we're getting WandaVision vibes from Wish World. Yes, Ellie over at Who Culture, you're not the only one who made that connection. You know what other show left off on a cliffhanger where the main character got swapped with a past character? Ms. Marvel. Just saying. 3, she's only returning for a few specials, like how Tennant did. Now that makes the most sense to me, although I am curious how a full season would be like with her as the Doctor. And 4, here's a theory of my own. With the current direction of the show in mind, what if Rose was the Doctor all along? What if this Doctor gets stranded in 2005, and when the 9th Doctor shows up, she plays the role of Rose? Then when she goes back to the parallel world in Journey's End after Tennant fades away, her TARDIS materializes and she returns to our universe. With Rose's arc done, the Doctor regenerates again, this time into Martha or some shit. Since Russell is so reliant on the past, why not completely redo his success from before? Literally. The fanbase may be up in arms, but any publicity is good publicity. Right, Russell? All jokes aside though, please do not do this. This is not to be taken literally. Please, for the love of God, don't do this. So, does this mean she's returning as Bad Wolf? Is this actually Rose and some timey-wimey shenanigans happened? Was it just a mistake in the editing process? Who knows at this point. It's obvious, though, that it was a last-minute decision to get the viewers to keep watching. Honestly, while I love to see Billie Piper back in Doctor Who, I think a new actor should have been casted. Let the show move forward. Old fans will appreciate it, new fans will be hooked on it better. Do what Moffat did with Matt Smith. Get a relatively unknown actor and run with it. The people will love a fresh take on the character and the show. Hell, I would have been a better casting decision. I've got enough acting and theater experience to play my dream role. So, BBC, if you're ever looking for someone new to play the Doctor, well, here I am. I'd like a Dalek story, though. Ncuti didn't have a Dalek story. I'd like a Dalek story. Either way, I think a new face needs to take up the role as the Doctor, and the show needs to stop relying on past legacy characters to get views. The show can stand and persist on its own so long as it has compelling stories, enjoyable narratives, good writing, and high stakes. Throw in the occasional dark, spooky episode or two-parter, and there you go. No more big CGI monsters, though. Cut back on the rat money. Now, I'm going to rewatch Capaldi's era, my favorite era, again, but leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.